Hey everybody, welcome back to Trekyards. I'm Captain Foley.
And I'm Commander Cockins. We are back to a spoiler-filled and analysis, edited review discussing in a nice compact form before our very, very long live review tonight at 9 PM GMT, but normal 5 PM Eastern. Tune into that because that is the epic scene we're seeing, and it's a shorter episode, but it's a dense episode.
First of all, I want to remind everybody to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and don't forget to click the notification icon. This was one of those episodes that at the end of it, it felt hollow and kind of a little bit incomplete. And I think, well, it's part one of a part two, which is fine. But I mean, they've all been part of a overarching story. This one didn't feel like it left me with much at the end. There were a few good moments. I think the first half was a lot better than the second half. Overall, it was a enjoyable romp. We got to see a familiar face, which wasn't exactly what I expected. There's a few things that bothered me in this episode, but overall, it was rather enjoyable. This is going to be more of a middle-of-the-road kind of episode for me. I didn't love it, didn't hate it. It was just kind of there.
I was prepared to walk in today and say, I don't know what I think exactly, because I enjoyed watching it, but once you got to the end, and suddenly they turn the synths into villains, it makes them completely uninteresting. It ruins that entire subplot. The idea of this big bad sci-fi race is just Mass Effect and is also dumb, and all of the possible cool things have been completely done all the way down, and it just feels like Discovery Season 2 again. That had an AI from the future. This is a synth from outside our galaxy. It feels exactly the same.
The Zot Vosh and Commodore O were right and Picard was wrong the whole time, is what this is basically saying.
It's very strange. It's a very strange episode, and it's one of those things where, like I said to you last season of Discovery, if the payoff isn't very good, the setup all breaks down. Well, I think the setup in the season was a bit all over the place because there were so many things. Like, all the Borg Reclamation Project was basically just forgotten. Like, you know, the Borg cube gets attacked and then all the people, they get ignored. All the Borg drones should have just been beamed back, completely ignored. Another plot hole. And it just felt, it felt a bit hollow. I enjoyed watching, that's the thing, I enjoyed the episode, but I felt by the end, oh no, this is a dumb season. Of course it's a dumb season. It's written by Akiva Goldsman and Kurtzman and the team.
Yeah, see, again, we mirror each other's opinion this time. Usually we either agree or we obviously disagree. But this one, I expected you to enjoy it a lot more than I did. But I think we're on the same page. Very middle of the road. Again, it's part one of a part two, so we need to really see the next episode to really kind of...
But the problem is, like, Year of Hell, amazing part one, you get best of both worlds. I mean, you can leave people on, oh my god. This did not leave an oh my god. It left on, oh really? Which is sad, because I really liked Jana. I loved her makeup, I loved her acting, but as soon as she became the villain, I'm like, oh, well, that's ruined. As soon as we meet Jana's sister, Sutra, but do you know what I mean? Like, it's like with Lorca in season 1. He's a complicated character until suddenly, boom, he's one-dimensional.
No, I totally agree. I mean, it was surprising seeing Sutra, and...
Made sense, though. It was logical, at least.
You're right. Once she got the vision, which... The fact that she can mind meld is just incredibly stupid. She taught herself how to mind meld. I don't quite buy that.
You need innate psychic ability to do it.
Yeah.
That's what Vulcans and Romans have. Now, I could buy that they genetically engineered her to have psychic abilities because they've done some really cool things genetic modification-wise, but no, a robot can't mind meld just because you say they can learn it. A mind meld isn't just touching hands. Now, obviously, she is a biomechanoid with a bigger computing power and such, and maybe you could argue all the mind meld is just connecting neurons. So if you science it to the absolute nth, perhaps. But
is she biome? Is she an organic synth? She's got the gold skin color. She's got the data eyes. I think there's a mix of androids, like earlier models, and then synth organics in that colony, which is something I want to talk about in probably another video.
This is true, and they did imply in the behind the scenes that Surge is a newer model and thing is an older model, and there is, most of them do have the data makeup, but there are some variations. Like, a lot of them don't have the contact lenses. If they all look like Data, then Soji and Daj were just given the human skin that Data's mum was given. Like, Data chooses not to look like a human after a certain point. But can I throw in one thing I absolutely loved?
Okay. Yes.
The Borg cube coming out of transwarp moment.
Yes.
It was shot beautifully. The cube looked phenomenal. Exactly as a cube should look. The green really gives it whatever. And it was such a nice moment of like, yes! Literally, I was like, vroom. That was good. Perfectly paced. Love that.
It was, and then it just went to crap right away and crashed.
But we were right about the plants, for the most part. And I appreciate they're only in it a little bit. That intro was appropriately short. It was to the point, snappy, boom, done. And then we got a Borg subplot before we got to the synths. I was like, what? Why are we right turning? If the fate of the galaxy depends on this, why are you going to the Borg cube first? I felt weird.
Well, I did like the flowers and the fact that they encompassed the Lustrine and all the power went out. I think even Picard's artificial heart went out. That's why he kind of passed out and had that welcome everybody. I know it's in relation to his parietal lobe, and he was kind of having a hallucination because they're kind of speeding up that thing. Like all of a sudden now he's gonna die.
Yes, they've just remembered they have that.
Yeah, and it's really annoying because it came out of nowhere, and it was a bad timing because it's right after the cube came out. So everybody, well, not everybody, but a lot of people in my live chat last night were saying, "Oh, he was linked to the Borg and he was talking for the Borg," and I'm like, no, he wasn't. This was like a senile dementia hallucination that he was having, and this parietal lobe issue put him in a coma essentially for a little bit anyway, until Dr. Murder was allowed to take care of him.
Oh, I assume the synths were sending a signal to him to say hello, welcome.
That's what I thought the first time too, but going back and rewatching it, it's very much like he basically had an episode because of his issue.
That was not made clear.
No, it was not at all. The first thing he sees over him is Dr. Girardi, who murdered Maddox. Why was she left alone with Picard after they know she murdered Maddox? And sure, she's a doctor, I guess, but I don't know if she's a doctor. You would think that either Raffi or Rios would have more medical training than her because they were both in Starfleet. So they have basic medical knowledge.
Well, and
right?
both second in command, so they probably have extensive medical knowledge, as much as you'd get by that rank. I mean,
so if I woke up and saw her over me, I'd start screaming because it's like, holy shit, I'm gonna die.
Well, they've gave her explicit context. So she only killed for this reason, and they even do say that you felt more out of your mind then, and the further away from that you are, the more in your mind you're getting. Because in this episode, she has a complete flip. She no longer sees the threat of them and is just fine, which makes it also a bit worthless. It's like, why bother killing him if it's not really going to mean too much? But obviously she's there for some great sacrifice at the end. I mean, she's a story character, not a real character. See, you can start to see the tendrils of bad writing, of bad overall plot, starting to, whereas some episodes can be fun and good. But it's like, but the plot doesn't really, Like Picard in this episode was okay at best. At least he did order people. He said, right, report everyone, which is very Picardy. But after that, he was just sort of there for the ride.
I want to get back to the one thing we're talking about. We're talking about the androids, and we see, of course, Brent Spiner.
Which I called that he would be around. We both did. So big, I'm right. And I shed a little emotional, like, oh, yes, I was right. Brent's back.
But another son of Soong, that really annoyed me. I was hoping for something data related. He's working on this mind transference, which Dr. Ira has done way before in season, whatever, of TNG.
Yeah, but he was a mega ultra genius, and Soong is a pretty good genius.
True enough. So he creates this golem body that he wants to put himself into. Now, going back to Picard for a second, they're really foreshadowing the fact that he's going to die. Even when he speaks to Seven on the Borg cube, and Seven says, when she's saying goodbye, she's like, keep saving the galaxy, Picard. And he's like, well, I think that's your job now. And then he literally walks into the light, and this light, it's like so symbolic that he's going to die. So I'm wondering if Picard's consciousness is going to get transferred into this golem robot that Soong has made, because it's kind of written on the wall as far as Picard's going to die. We can transfer consciousness into this body. The show is called Picard. So is Picard going to become like some kind of android for season 2?
I was assuming it was Soong, that he was doing it for himself. And while Picard may eventually go in it...
Oh, I think he's doing it for himself, but...
I can see it's more likely that there'll be a younger Brent to then help in season 2 with something else. Not necessarily full young, but or at least a android version, because that would at least link with our theory of being an android, because he wants to be with his children. But
yeah, I can't see this all being wrapped up in a nice little bow in one episode. Or even, it's just, there's a sloppy mess. Like we talked about all the tendrils that were going to be tied up, hopefully by the end of the season. A lot of them have fallen by the wayside, as per Alex Kurtzman's kind of forgotten plotline elements. He does that all the time. And it's kind of coalesced into this mess that I don't know how they're. It's good. The next episode's going to be a gigantic battle.
And I'm not going to
care. Basically,
care.
what it's going to be.
But we saw a screen cap in the next time on, and it was this big, massive, absurd battle that looked boring. Honestly, it was just a mess of plants and Romulan ships, and it was like, okay. Like, I'd rather see 1 Scimitar, 1 Enterprise Z, and 2 Valdors, and 430 Romulans, 73 plants, and 240... It's like, okay, it's just a mess of wasting money on CGI. And it's also the fact that a lot of the plot lines now are coming back that were forgotten. It's like, part of a serialized story is that you carefully plan each episode to pull certain threads along. And, like, maybe you cut back to... This is why the Brent Data flashbacks should have been all throughout the season, maybe every 2 episodes, because they are the representation of Picard's brain being degradate, whatever. And as they go on, you see Tenfold maybe get more and more damaged, more and more rusty, more and more dark. Data look more and more old as his brain is starting to fail. And you cut from the perfect season episode 1, and then wake up this episode and it's Data, falling apart or whatever. Like, you put these threads in, and they've been clearly written back in, and it feels unfinished. It feels unpolished. It feels like a second draft. At least the set design is nicer, like more open, more green than the Less Arena. Give him credit for that. That's just called going outside. I liked the body, the synth body golem reveal. That was nice. I liked that. It gave Sung something to do, because him as a character was like, oh, cool, and then doesn't do that much.
Well, I like how Sung was also a body guy, not the brain guy.
Well, that's what Girardi said last week. It's like the 3 dimples or 3 freckles, they're artistry. Sung thought he was an artist, but this is something else. So Maddox was the artist. And I don't mind another Sung. I could rather have a Sung back than not a Sung back. But you wonder, why didn't that Sung try and contact Data in the last 50 years?
Yeah, and why wasn't he mentioned? Everybody's freaking out because Data's mom said that they didn't have kids or whatever, and Data was her favorite of the androids and all this. And I'm like, well, Sung could have had a kid by another person that she didn't know about. But everybody's freaking out about that. He's got good genes in his family, though, because they all look alike. Like, it's not even they look similar. They look exactly alike.
Well, that's why it worked better for Enterprise, because that was like four guys apart. Whereas you and your son look identical is a little bit harder to... But I mean, whatever. Again, it's a fun gimmick. It just would have been nice if he had said, I stayed away, or I've been working with the Klingons, or something, because you're just like, it's not as big a retcon as Michael Burnham as Spock's sister, but it's like all the times that there's lore, there's Data, there's B4. Why didn't Sun come out, this Sun come out when B4 was created? What, didn't he go to Daystrom? I mean, to be fair, he probably did go to Daystrom and talk to them. That's how he met Maddox. To be fair, he probably did, but they didn't say that.
Here's the thing. I don't think it's a son of Sung. I think it's actually lore in some form, because the way he speaks, his speech patterns, his reaction to the destroying organic life, he seems very lore-like. I think we're going to get a reveal that it's actually lore. Soon never had another kid, because we would have known about it. And I think that Sutra was actually created with Lore's engrams, because again, the way she speaks is very lore-like, and like they're dropping hints like crazy as far to this relationship. We haven't heard Lore mentioned. I think that's going to be one of the reveals in the last episode, and I noticed that right away. Like, I was so disappointed that it was a son of Sung. I wanted to see Data in some form. When I saw him come out, I was like, oh my god, that's awesome. And then it's like immediate disappointment, because this is just some guy.
Well, it's no disappointment if they treat him uninterestingly, and they did. He could have been amazing. Like, he could have been really interesting. And I was secretly doing this, and I was doing this, and I was talking to my dad the entire time, and I was actually, I mean, yes, lore would make some sense. It'd fit more into our theories for sure. That'd be a good reveal. But if you think of the grand plot and how when they talk about the Doomsday thing, none of his reactions in the Doomsday scene make any sense.
Maddox probably fixed Lore, or assumed he did, and used his help to create these, and Lore's had his own agenda the whole time.
And that would explain why these seem to be more psychopath than you would actually have them.
And easily manipulated.
Yeah, that's a good way of explaining.
Now, Narek in this one was interesting.
I didn't understand Narek in this one, I'll be honest.
I didn't either. That's what I'm saying. He's interesting. And who killed the other android with the brooch, with the hummingbird brooch? I assumed it was Narek because they focused on it. He looked at it, And then next scene we see her, it's in her eyeball. But everybody's...
Oh, that's what's in her eyeball. I thought you just pulled out her eye. Oh, okay. Although, why would stabbing you in an eye kill you?
People say it's Sutra that killed her. And it's like, well, why would she have used the brooch then? She probably would have used a different thing. Why'd they focus on it with the Narek scene? So again, if it's either poor direction. A lot of people are assuming that Sutra let him go and killed this other android herself to make it look like the organics are dangerous. And I don't know if I buy that. I think Narek killed her somehow.
To be fair, it makes no difference which one killed her. It really means nothing. It's more what's Narek's plot. But what I felt weirdly in this one is that the character has nothing now. He has no anything, and they just kept. He almost was a cool manipulation, but the fact that he kept being almost grovelly and whatever, and it's just like I was waiting for that turn for you fools, like go from weak to strong and be like classic villainy. But his scene felt just unbelievably weak, and
we saw glimpses of it. Like he looked at his backpack. There was quite a few moments where it's like. He was going to do something, but it never gelled. It never came together
payoff
into anything.
to that.
No, there wasn't at all.
And he was definitely a side thought as well. He came through the thing. He was defeated really quickly. He was taken. Wait for him. Oh, he's back again. Now the character's worthless now. Honestly, and in the last 2 episodes, he's been completely worthless. And the Rafi, I love you. And why the hell did Picard say I love you back? I know he thinks he's dying even more, but he didn't say it to Riker. He didn't say it to anyone else. So he definitely wouldn't say it to her, unless he's senile and old.
It was such an awkward situation and scene.
he should have, as he was walking away, turned back around, given her one more hug, and then walked away without saying anything.
Or said, "You know how I feel," and walked away.
Yeah, it raises Raffi above any other person he's ever known to say I love you back, and it's like, no, she really isn't. It's the classic, we're going to make the new people better than the old people, even though the old people had way more years and experience and time. I mean, I know he's a different man now than he was in TNG, but that felt out of character. It wasn't out of character until it was out of character.
I'm glad he tried to contact Starfleet. Glad we saw that. We got a first contact situation here. So I don't know if they actually get the message or whatever. But then later, though, when all of a sudden Sutra turns on a dime and says, okay, well, this is, get rid of organics and basically fulfilling this prophecy. And Soji's even on board, and he goes, so you'll become the destroyer. Listen, I'll advocate for you to the Federation. They'll listen to me. Like, what? They didn't listen to you that during the synth attack, or after the synth attack on Mars, which, by the way, there's no flashback in this episode, and no real wrap up for how that was accomplished. So that's just going to fall by the wayside, unfortunately, until maybe season 2, if they're going to bring it up again.
And do you know those shots of ships going towards Mars? No. Same problem with ships, just we never got that continuation, so you can see how much stuff they cut and swapped around.
Yep.
This feels just like they Discovery season 1, where they changed showrunners, they try to chop and change the plot where they wanted, because if Michael Chabon said, I don't want to go where Kurtzman wants to go in season 2, let's start changing it, because I'm here halfway through, we can start changing things. And then he's now out, so now the season 2 showrunner is going to come and say, I didn't like what Chabon did, and now none of that setup makes any sense anymore. I liked the fact, besides the mind meld thing, I like the fact that it wasn't a warning, it was a message. I like that as a little, okay, interesting. Designed for organics, or synth organics. Although they never even left the planet, so how many thousands of years would it take for them to find the suns, whatever? So who left the message then? Was it the Takon
super advanced race, the super advanced synth race that we haven't met yet?
Yeah, so the Takon didn't move the stars, it was a super advanced race, which means that was pointless to call them Takon, because even though they can move suns, that meant nothing, because they didn't, it was the mega advanced race.
Yeah, it's just another race that could move suns.
Oh, well, that was weird.
It's funny, because in that flashback, though, or the vision, we see a white android with a big delta on its chest. I've seen that android before. I've seen it in some episodes of Ancient Aliens, where they're talking about artificial life. It's just generic stock footage. So is the android that morphs into Data, I might add. It's on Shutterstock. It's a video clip you can buy for $59. It's the exact same android that morphs into Data. I can send you the clip to prove it to you. So it's the cheapest production thing they've done. Just spend $59, use the clip. But this other one with the big delta on his chest, the same thing. It's footage from other stuff. They just slapped a big delta on its chest, which annoyed me to no end.
I keep saying this season feels cheap, and they keep throwing more things that show it's cheap. Something happened. This is not an 8.5 million episode series. This is not. Something happened. The money got funneled away. The executive producers all combined took 3 million. Picard took 3 million. Oh, Patrick, this is not.
People are saying it's getting funneled into Discovery. This money's getting sidelined for Discovery because anyway. So I just wanted to point that
this feels like one of the cheapest Trek shows. How's the most expensive?
Absolutely.
I mean, look at the Les Arena set. Look at the redresses. Look at, I mean, my God.
Yeah, there's very little substance.
Yeah, very little. I mean, the CGI is fine. There wasn't very much of it. I mean, but again, there'll be a lot next week. Now, if next week is an hour and a half and is full of CGI, okay, they put 20 million into that, fine. But my goodness, it's a really weird episode. It really is. It's a letdown because we had all these great theories, all these great possibles, and I think we felt the same way Discovery Season 2 because we were like, where can it go? Where can it go? Oh, it's going there. Oh. It's like the great universe of possibilities now goes all down to one line and the line is boring. Because honestly, the Romulans, like you say, the Romulans are now doing the right thing. I don't feel sympathy for synths. I don't. They've proven that, yes, you shouldn't make synthetic life. You should not allow them to do this way.
But I think that's part of the reveal. We're going to find out that lore's behind it, and it's all a ploy.
Yep. Yeah. No, I like that because it wouldn't be that stupid otherwise. Although, I mean, it takes one synth to turn the synths. Like the rest of them are fine. It's just because of Sutra. Although I do like the fact that in the mission, in the ready room, they said because every synth has a twin and that keeps you grounded. She lost hers. She's the only one ever to lose. Well, I guess, and the flower dude who they haven't brought back. So she's having to build her own identity based on being alone, and that's why she's gone power murder crazy, which makes a lot of sense. That's fine. It just ruins the synths as characters, and they're not sympathetic to me. And you want them to be. And when you suddenly root for the Romulans, it's like, okay, what am I meant to be feeling here, show? What am I meant to be feeling?
I think it was Sutra. I liked her at first. For the first, until she got the mind meld, and then all of a sudden, which is fine. I mean, she's playing the character right in that regard, but now she went from somebody interesting to two-dimensional. And I gotta say, she looks a lot better with the gold eyes and the gold skin and the...
and honestly, it does make you realize that, yes, synths are too dangerous. Because the Romulans could hack synths easily, and they destroyed Planitia. And one synth goes crazy, decides to do a beacon that'll destroy all life in the universe or galaxy. Yeah. Okay, I guess we got to stop them then, because it's the entire argument thing he was using. Well, we have to protect our family. Well, we have to protect 147 trillion lives to your 103. Okay, you've just made the equation easy. Like, if Soji kills Sutra and then cools off. Like, I don't even know where it's going to end, because either the Romulans get destroyed.
It might form and force an alliance with the Romulans and the Federation, but I don't know.
To fight the great mechanical threat from out of the galaxy. It's going to transwarp in and be like, hey, bitches, our ships are 47 miles long because we're from the JJ-verse in terms of sizing. We're all Narada scale. Dum.
I can't see how this is going to end. We knew it was going to end with a cliffhanger, but I thought at least most of the stuff would be resolved, and then a new cliffhanger would appear. But they can't wrap this up in one episode. So I'm sitting here going, I don't know what to expect next week.
And the trailer just looked like generic Discovery Season 2 last episode action.
Yep, and I think that's what most of the episode's going to be, unfortunately.
Didn't they learn from that? I know they loved that episode themselves. Well, I will give them one bit of credit, which I liked. When they find the Borg cube, apart from the dumb fact that it crashes and yet perfectly, the corridor line, like the floor of one deck is perfectly in line and there's a lovely hole. I know that's the one they happen to go through, but it's like, why is the floor exactly level with the ground if the thing crashed? I did like the fact that they were implying that the Borg cube is regenerating quite happily, and so by the end of the episode, it'll be able to fly again. Because of all the things that you think could survive a massive crash and then come back, is a Borg cube. So I completely think it'll be fine next episode. I'm totally fine with that.
Yeah, and one of the best things in this episode was the visual of that Borg cube entering the atmosphere and that huge shockwave. I thought was fantastic because it's 3 kilometers by 3 kilometers.
Yeah.
So that was pretty epic.
That's why when they said, something that big, they couldn't possibly survive. It's like, it's a Borg cube. It's got the shielding of a Borg cube. Of course it could survive that. Like, Seven will use it.
something that big striking the surface of a planet would cause a cataclysm that
That
would
is true.
kill the dinosaurs.
That is,
So,
it did nothing. It didn't even destroy the rock. It didn't even destroy the mountain range next to it.
no, it didn't. No, it's still blue skies. And that's the other thing. You heard the occasional thunder, you saw the occasional lightning in the distance, but there's no way that this is always constant electrical storm.
Yes, that was a big,
beautiful blue sky.
That's they didn't want to do the CGI of having the sky always be. That was it. They completely dropped the ball on that. What's the point in setting it up if you're not even going to remotely pay it off?
This was the clear season.
Oh,
It's only for 1 week. It's only for 1 week.
Basically, what we're saying, guys, is that this is a bit of a mess, and we're confused, and we look forward to next week. But it'll be really interesting scene by scene, especially. So do tune back tonight, only tonight. I might have to watch it again before tonight to like really, well, I will anyway. But I mean, like reabsorb it because, oi.
So anyway, guys, put your comments down below, and please check out the full breakdown. There is a lot more to talk about here, and we'll be doing videos throughout the week, so make sure you're subscribed to the channel and click the notification icon for all, and yeah, hit the like video for this video as well, and just come back and join us, and you can help us out via super chats during the live chat.
Well, speaking of join, you can now join the channel, which is like a Patreon, which you can also join. Place directly in contact with the channel, you get a new colour for your chat window, you get new emojis, and we know that you have supported us directly, and we can like read your comments especially because we know you're part of our specific, unique crew. So click the join button, which is in the super chat button, that bit, and that really does help the channel.
And then I guess until next time, hopefully there's only one episode left, guys. But anyway, I'm Captain Foley.
I'm Commander Kongs. Bye, guys.
See you later.